Hi, this is Nancy L.T. Hamilton with some info on jewelry making today. And today we're going to talk about riveting, and we're not going to talk about my funny hat. Okay? So the first thing that we need to do is get our piece that we're going to work on and mark the metal. Okay, so here's our piece, and this is a little weird mini book. And I've already pre-marked where I want my rivets to be. So I need to take my nail set, which you can get at any hardware store, and put it on the little dot. Give it a tap. And the reason that you do this is that so that you have a place for your drill bit to stay and it doesn't skitter off the metal and scar the metal. So now we need to go drill it. Okay, so before I drill, I want to determine what size drill bit to use. So I've decided I'm going to use 14 gauge wire. And therefore I need to have a drill bit that's going to be almost the same size as 14 gauge wire. And I have a little handy chart on my website that you can look at. I'm going to look on the wall where I also keep it. It's a number 52 drill bit. And I've got that loaded up here. It's the same size, almost the same size as this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill my hole where I put my divot. And I'm going to keep my flex shaft perpendicular. If you don't have a flex shaft, you can use a Dremel or even a regular drill. And you're going to hold it down and drill a hole. Okay, so there's a little burr on the back of this that's caused by the metal being pushed through. So I'm going to quick clean that up before I put my rivet in. So we love these sanding discs. I don't have one on the front, so I don't need to go there. And then I'm going to check to make sure that my wire fits, and it does. It fits pretty nicely. So our next step, we're going to cut the wire and we're going to put the rivet in. Usually when we cut wire with a pair of clippers like this, you end up with two different typed ends. One looks like this and the other is flush. What we want to do for a rivet is to make sure that we have a flush end. So here's the flush side. I'm going to turn this and cut this off. I'm going to keep my finger here so that the piece doesn't fly. And if you see, this is the end. If I cut it the other way, I would have that. If I cut it this way with the flush end, I'll have a flat. So that's the important thing to do on that. Then what we want to do is take the wire and put it through here. And you're looking for approximately 1 millimeter hanging out on each side of that hole. So carefully, whoops, there it goes, snip it off, and that's approximately what you want to see. About 1 millimeter on each side. So the next thing we're going to do is hammer. So, brief word on hammers. There's two kinds that most people use. This is a riveting hammer and has a little wedge-shaped end. And then this is a ball peen hammer, and some people like to use this. This would be the end that you would rivet with. And that's it on hammers. So we'll now actually demonstrate the hammering. So if you're going to use a ball peen hammer, you basically hammer and push the metal off the side. So this would be the blows, and you would actually be turning the piece. With the hammer that I like to use, which is the riveting hammer, it's more, by the way, your rivet's never going to be that big, but the rivet is smaller than this face. I hit it this way and then move around. So it's the same process, except the ball peen, you're going to kind of push it off the side, and the riveting hammer, you're going to just go on a cross pattern like that. So now I'm going to actually do the riveting. And I try to keep this little sucker in there because it's a pain to try to get it back in again. So I always keep one finger attached. If you can't, put some glue on it, not glue, tape, and help it hold in place. Okay, so I'm going to start by going across, and then I'm going to turn it. And then I'm going to turn it again. Now at this point, I'm going to turn it over and do the other side. The same thing. I'm going to go across, turn. I guess I'm turning it at a, what's that, 45-degree angle? Probably 90. I get those all mixed up. I don't know if I remember telling anybody before, but I've slept through geometry class, literally. Okay, then I'm turning it again. So this is just a slow, repetitive process. Your goal is to try to hit the rivet and not the metal. And by the way, it takes practice. I would buy or find or scavenge a piece of copper or some cheap metal and do 50 of these I'm not kidding. Because you don't want to screw up and wreck your piece that you spent so much time working on. So practice, it's not hard to do. It's less painful to practice. So what I'm trying to attain now is a fairly flat and flush rivet. And I'm trying to keep it as round as possible. Now, did you see I flipped the hammer over? So, by the way, hammer needs to be nice and smooth and finished, because whatever's on the end of your hammer ends up on the end of your metal. So now I'm just hammering this flat, and there we have our rivet. That was pretty simple, wasn't it? You can do it. Santa says so. Okay, thanks for watching. That was our rivet demo. The next demo I'm going to do is how to do an invisible or fleshed out rivet. Very similar to this, pretty quick little video. Come back and watch that. Thanks again. Ho ho ho!